right. Well, thanks everybody for showing up. I don't know if I didn't have an agenda for today, but I think we could go over the updates like we usually do if you wanted to, Crystal. And then I have just some general updates about like the voting app and like next steps and maybe like the founder NFT stuff we could talk about.
Cool. Let me pull up the newsletter.
And Nick, I don't know if you have anything that you wanted to discuss or if you're just a fly on the wall for this one.
I'm fine either way. I know me talking too much about crypto can be a risky proposition.
Nice. Yeah, so this week, the short and skinny version, there's a lot of new stuff on the governance forum. So I've kind of done the top line summaries here on the newsletter. So you can hop into the forum and just kind of engage in the conversation. There's some really good back and forth about, different ideas, stuff that we have going on, like tools that Justin has been talking about to power the DAO. And then he did a substrate workshop last night. I don't know, Keith, were you able to hop in that?
Yeah, we'll have to wrangle the recordings into our YouTube account at some point, but we had to do 2 because we didn't have a paid account. So we stopped at 45 minutes and then started another one.
Nice. And then we've got some more stuff, formalizing and deepening partnerships with Backland. Keith started a lot of these threads, so them deeper, but it was good. I could tell you had some time over the holiday weekend. I was like, yay, that's cool. Some good conversations to get into. And then Jennifer started a Telegram group for us to coordinate for the In Real Life event in September at the ONA conference in Los Angeles. So be sure to hop into Telegram and join that. The link is in the blog post. Then we just reviewed the Twitter spaces and our town hall. Not a whole lot in proposals and partnerships. The blockchain investigative project is moving forward. We've been meeting with DiamondDAO once a week. We're meeting on Mondays and kind of helping them flesh all that out. It's interesting to be in the ground level of the development of an app. I haven't done that in a long time, so it's kind of fun to watch the bugs surface and then get kicked out, and then the sprints from A to B and the beautiful hot messes. It's a lot of fun, but I'm excited about, and Nick can talk to this later if he wants to. I'm excited about the things that are going to be uncovered in that project. It's just kind of this organic thing that's growing into its own. And then Keith had an article, Journalism is for Everyone, on the blog, so be sure to check that out too. And that is it.
Would you say that like work has officially started on the Chainverse partnership, or are you guys still like just sorting out what it would be and what work looks like?
Yeah, it's definitely started. We've picked the first community profile that we're doing. We're still not clear on the investigative report yet. We've got 2 ideas that we're bouncing right now. We kind of want to get a little deeper into the community profile, and that's also top of mind for them, the way they're going through their pitch process. They want to have that in place first, and then kind of give us a little more time to uncover, the investigative article to come from that. The app also has bugs in it. They had taken the development to a certain point, and then they just brought on a full-time, full-stack developer. So now they redeployed a new version of it, and it kind of broke all the things. So now they're getting back to fix all the things. So that's kind of been a little bit of a bottleneck. So we've been able to shift focus and kind of do other parts of information gathering while they get the app back to where it should be, or where they see it going.
Cool. Nick, do you have anything to add to that, or any opinions about how it's going so far?
Sure. So I'm gonna choose my words carefully just because we're on a public recorded thing. But basically, the app is not currently very usable. So while they're doing that beta testing, alpha testing, we're kind of just sussing out alternative ways to get started. There's also sort of, I get the feeling that on their end, they're lagging a little bit because they've just hired a new developer. So while they're getting that sorted out, and I guess we're kind of just sussing out the best ideas that we think they might want to go for. It does seem to track with what I previously described in our Discord chat about kind of how I see the business model in their app working. Seems to be sort of like the purpose of the grant, at least initially, is gonna, I think the first thing we're gonna work on is gonna be partly to win over the team on the notion that this can work, because they're just too early in the startup process.
Gotcha. Cool. So are you able to like pull on any like threads yet, actual like research, or are you still kind of deciding what the topics will be?
I think the safest option is to go with the variant fund study, and that's kind of what I've focused on the last couple of days. I did a deep dive on the backgrounds on the team last night, doing that until 11 o'clock this morning, and I posted that in our element. I also got some interesting leads. What the CEO of the company, the founder of Variant Fund, Jesse Walden, he gave out a bunch of NFTs as a thank you to people that had helped him along the way, which has been very, very helpful for finding everybody. I've also got an issue that a lot of the portfolio that they're claiming to have invested in crypto, I just can't find it. Like a big chunk of the money's volume just doesn't seem to be there. So I'm going to have to make decisions about whether it's likely on Coinbase or it's likely being funneled through the partners. I'm not 100% sure yet. It doesn't seem like they have a formal way of dispersing funds from variant funds to the different entities that they're doing investments for. It's kind of ad hoc amongst these different wallets, and a lot of it's in NFTs, which makes it harder. But yeah, I've been kind of neglecting the NFT issue because it's going to be the most complicated part, at least for assessing value and investments.
Yeah.
And just to clarify too, for other people on the call, Variant is who Chainverse or the Diamond DAOs asked us to make a community profile first, and they want to use that to show, how the app can link all of these different threads together. So that's why we're focusing on that one first. And then that'll be the template moving forward to create more community profiles with their app.
Cool. That sounds good.
But I would add, they're very, I'd never heard of Variant Fund other than, casually, but the more I look at them, they do have a serious number of full-time people involved, especially, they just brought on Mason Nystrom from Masari. He's like the main guy that makes content for Masari. He just quit his job to go work for them. Cooper Turley's there. So it's a very strong team of people, very quietly accumulating more knowledgeable people in crypto. They seem to know what they're doing. So I think the idea that that the CEO of Chainverse has is to focus on Variant Fund because they've invested in several analytics platforms already, and they seem to be an influential VC. So that's as much as I have.
Cool. Yeah, that's interesting. Excited to see that progress.
I'm actually looking, so I've got to catch up on all this, but I'm just kind of looking at the data as you're talking about. I'm just looking at who's who and all about the Variant Fund. So
the website only lists about a third of the people involved in the project. I think from memory, I think they've got between 15 and 20 employees right now. Half of them are listed as partners, which is kind of strange because I don't believe that they're all partners. They're titled like research partner, venture partner, investment partner, general partner. It's a very high number for a VC that small. Also, something that's notable to me is that Mike Armstrong was an advisor. he's listed himself as an advisor. He's a very credible person. I have not verified this yet, but this was back when it was just Jesse Walden, and that was it was a one-man band. It was just Jesse Walden, and that's Variant Fund. Mike Armstrong comes on and as an advisor 2 months into the project existing. And that's interesting to me because that has not been disclosed as far as I can tell, just from my cursory check. And he works at Coinbase. So he's a 2-year advisor at Variant Fund that doesn't seem to be disclosed. I'm sure there's an announcement somewhere, I just can't find it. But he's been at Coinbase for technically a year and a half, but he worked at Bison before that, and they're now a Coinbase subsidiary. So maybe 3 years.
And we're also keeping some of this information encrypted too, just so, we'll obviously share it all with the community as it surfaces, but some of it is kept encrypted back and forth just to keep the information itself safe until we make it public. So.
Yeah, and the only reason I'm saying what I said just now is that it's like on his LinkedIn. I'm pulling that straight from LinkedIn. I just thought it was odd.
But yeah, just in case anybody starts poking around. But if you have questions, just ask us. But yeah, just FYI.
Cool. Jennifer, do you want to talk about the ONA event at all, or what the Telegram's about, and kind of like for people who haven't joined, why they should and all that?
Yeah, sure. So we've created this sort of Telegram group around Web3. People are journalists that are interested in Web3 and also looking at or going to or going to be participating in some way in ONA in September. That's in Los Angeles. And so what happens in these sort of Telegram groups is, as it gets closer to the events, it's a way to coordinate. It's also a way to bring in more like-minded community, and also to promote our event that we're going to be doing at that time. So we'll be able to pull in, so it doesn't necessarily have to be journalists, but it can be like your article today was great, and I probably should put it in there. But it's not really like, let's have another conversation channel. It's more like, let's gather around, events that are going to be happening, real life stuff we're going to be connecting, and possibly even garner some sponsorship if we get the numbers up a little bit. It's kind of like the strategy around most of the Telegram groups. And so I'll put an Excel spreadsheet together and start looking at some events that are happening. But I haven't seen anything going on. Like, I've been doing some research, and I haven't seen a lot happening at that time with ONA or anything at this point. They're pretty quiet about even the about the event. So.
And it seems like even like during these events, they can help with like on the ground coordination, where like sometimes things get moved or people are wondering like where this thing's at or whatever, and you can just chime in on the Telegram or get that info there.
Yeah, I've managed several of these for larger, just for like leading up to like NFT NYC, and another one was Consensus, and we keep at the one thing is really, I just need to find out from you guys, is you want me to include all those that are interested in Web3 in general, or do you want to keep it very meaningful and specific to this event? Because what happens is people that are actually interested in the subject or the theme kind of join as well. And then at the end of the group, at the end of this event, we change the name to, meet, so that this collection of community members actually can keep an ongoing dialogue. So it's not like it's specific to this event, but yeah, we just kind of, that's how we start to garner community around. And, I don't know. So, if you guys, I don't want to get so choosy about everything, but we can have one channel where it's like Web3, media journalism, and be that channel at the moment for all things leading up to that. Yeah? Yeah. Or is it like, should we just be picky about this? Be journalists, interested in Web3, you got to fit into this little box. It depends. It is whatever you guys want.
Well, it seems like have you seen one thing be more successful than the other as like the events go by and then the Telegram group matures into something else? Like,
I mean, it helps with like getting JournoDAO's name out there, but it also helps with like event sponsorship. And people that aren't interested can leave if we want to keep continuing it, and we change the name to JournoDAO.
mm,
And yeah, I mean, I think we just cast a wide net and then let people decide, and then kick people out that are scammers or whatever. That's the way I prefer it, because otherwise it's too much to manage.
yeah, it
And
sounds
a good trial run for like ETH Denver or some of the bigger conferences that are going to be coming up and using, Telegram. Like I can't remember the last journalism conference I went to, but it was a long time ago. And journalists, like I don't think they gather. Like I know they like go out to bars and stuff, but I mean, granted, this was pre-social media days, but I know the ones that I went to, we all just nerded out with everyone's portfolio like in a room. Like it was just really, I mean, it was great, but it was also very like just right there. I mean, Keith, when was the last one you went to?
I don't know. Does look 3 count? I think I was like back in the, I mean, it's very photography centric, but I don't think I went to any like purely journalism like conferences.
Well, it'd be great to have like what's happening in Web3, have a bit of a like Crypto Mondays in Austin around consensus just had a little like place where they actually did a couple little broadcasting things. They had a networking party and maybe a little panel, and it would be great to kind of get people around this conversation and actually broaden it. So yeah.
I know the Shelling Point, like I joined the Shelling Point Telegram about 4 months before ETH Denver,
Hmm.
and then watched their community just like really fire up right before the event. And then at the event, I was able to like hop into the Telegram, even though it was like constant conversation, and see
Okay.
exactly what was going on when I needed to. So I know that was like really beneficial.
Okay, yeah, we'll just keep it going and then we'll just figure it out along the way. It does it, it's not another channel to have like massive discussions. It's basically like the logistical kind of channel.
Cool.
Great. Thanks for setting that up. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I
I'll
haven't
just
even
kind
thought of that.
of yeah, and if anybody, I can make everyone admin and you guys can just add people and then they can just jump out if they don't want to be in it. Um, so I don't for the events, I haven't like redone any research around locations or anything like that, which I can and I will. So that I can like, try to find somebody that will give us a space or something. Well, we'll figure it out. It could be like a meat and cheese kind of thing, even if we want it to be.
Okay. Do you need help with that, or seems like I
I
don't know
mean,
if
not before next town hall. I won't
okay.
be doing I won't be doing anything before next town hall.
Okay. Well, I don't want you to get stuck with anything administrative just by default. So give us a heads up on, I think, uh, I know Eric had some ideas about venue, or at least the type of venue that we should be
All right.
looking at. So
I think that's my better role. You guys seem to be like the pros. Look at John over there. He's always ready for a podcast.
yeah.
Nick's like a deep diver. I mean, you guys already are. You guys are all pretty multi-talented in other areas. I'll take the event scope.
I don't even know what ONA is. I've never heard of it.
Oh.
Sorry.
No, I should actually just mention that online. Yeah, so the online journalism conference.
Yeah. If you go to journalists.org, that's their site, Online News Association. And so forgetting the date, September
The
something or
21st
other
or
in
something.
LA.
21st to the 23rd, or maybe
Yeah.
the 20th.
I mean, I would love to see a JournoDAO conference where we just like, I mean, because that one is quite boring, to be honest. It looks really boring and dry at the moment. Like, I mean, let's just create the JournoDAO, uh, and John can put another on the map behind him.
Yeah, throw a dart and then we'll put on a JournoDAO conference there.
Hopefully it didn't land in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So. Knowing my aim, it would. So you don't have to have any like credentials to join the conference or anything like that.
No, it's a relatively expensive ticket if you
Okay.
want to attend. So most people like go who have like, companies who will pay for their ticket, or it's worthwhile. But we have both applied for, been accepted for / paid for the midway hour presentation. So there's like the purely sponsored track, there's like the purely like original content or content for O&A track, and then there's the midway track, which is like where we are, where it's like, we've paid for a slot, but they've also kind of editorially picked us as like having good content for people there. So yeah, we're discussing doing like a panel, maybe like take criticisms from the audience about Web3 and see if we can convert some folks. And I don't know.
I'll preach that gospel.
Yeah.
I don't know. I did back in grad school write some articles for a jean store that I worked at.
Wait, like denim jeans?
Yeah. I worked at Mavi Jeans in Union Square in New York City, and yeah, they had a publication, and I covered ACL and some Swedish rock festival and something like that.
You
Okay,
can call yourself a
publication.
journalist for sure.
It
So
wasn't.
yeah, there's my credentials. I wrote for a retail jean store mag.
Yeah. So you're in.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I think we actually, I mean, if we broaden it out to actually to those interested in media, and I mean, we need to have a bit of a mission, like changing the face of journalism or media and journalism, Web3. I mean, something like that, so that actually people that aren't actually going to this thing might be interested, and we can actually usher them to either an online portion or something else that we offer, because there's so many great minds that can hold that kind of space. And this could turn into something, organically.
Yeah, I think the main attraction is almost that it's just an excuse for some of us to travel to LA and be in the same spot in person. So why not put on an event? But I think, anytime that happens, whether it's around a conference or just by coincidence, I think we could, talk about using DAO funds to like grab a space and do some outreach and just invite people in who are interested to kind of meet us and hear what we're up to. I mean, we've got 3 permanent residents in Portland, I think, growing by the day. Just putting that out there.
We've got Denver
Yeah.
too, 'cause Eric's not far away from Denver.
It's true.
And then we have 2 that live in Nomadic.
Oh yeah, they live everywhere all the time.
You got Austin representing right here.
Woo.
Nice.
Hey Spencer, how you doing?
Hey, doing well. Doing well. Good to be here.
Do you bring any news from the DAO space as an ambassador between many DAOs?
I just got did a Twitter space with JournoDAO, and I think they're I didn't know much about them before they explained what they did in this Twitter space, and it seems like they're a governance as a service DAO, which is pretty cool. Like they're almost like they do governance system audits and they help you engineer governance token systems and everything. And they're doing a weekly DAO speed dating, is what they're calling it, and it's like the Sapien DAO roundtable. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, just got off the space with them.
What's their name
It
again?
could be something that JournoDAO could do if one of you guys want to represent JournoDAO for them. I can recommend it to them.
Yeah, that'd be great. What's the name of the DAO again?
Governance, Governor DAO, but I'll send you the
Governor DAO,
Twitter account because they have some kind of ancillary Twitter account that manages this. I'll just post it in the chat here.
Yeah, well, speaking of governance, a couple things that came up this week for the voting app is that it is weird to try and put a number next to people's names when you're like allocating tokens. I don't like it really. Feels like there has to be a better way of like so-and-so gets this and so-and-so gets that. But in lieu of that, you know, there's like Coordinape where we all kind of just distribute the same amount of I don't know what it is, give tokens however we want. And then but I've heard, you know, even if Coordinape goes well, you're kind of just like discovering this number that's put next to your name, and without any sort of like background or story to it or whatever, unless you've been like talking to everyone in the circle directly. So I think I'd prefer to like set up a call to like go over like what's fair and how everyone feels about their own like contributions, and just see how that goes and see if we can like figure out a better way of, and like a more like, I don't know, hands-on or like interpersonal way of talking about this stuff, so that if like somebody thinks that this person should get more or less, that there's like an actual discussion behind that. And I don't know. And so I guess internally I thought this might not be an issue because it's just like valueless like governance tokens like that we can't trade or whatever. But then as soon as I started like trying to figure out like what proportion people should get, just as like a discussion like starting point, not even like a final like this is what it is, because I'm not deciding, but like just throwing it out there, getting the conversation started, it was, I don't know, still felt weird. So any thoughts on that, or do we think a call is a good idea? Or
I mean, I think given our small kind of intimate size, it could be handled just as like a conversation, like you were saying. I mean, I personally liked how you handled it in the Discord, and you just broke down this kind of proportions, and then you asked for feedback. I mean, I think we could handle it like that. I may go in and propose a slightly different one, giving some of, at least like just kind of giving out a little bit of what I have to others, like what you would do on Coordinape. It's just like my thing with Coordinape is like I literally can't even get to the like that the protocol to use it.
right.
You know, I might say this. I've been doing the calls at Global Coin Research for, I don't know, since February. Because of they have a nice, easy process to follow to get paid, and they have a, you know, very simple self-reporting hours accountability structure. I have yet to collect a dime from Global Coin Research because I can't be bothered to do that, and it's a significant amount of money. That's how little I care about the money for that. Like and it's not like I don't need it or want it. I just I think there's a very specific way that different types of people deal with incentive models for employees. And people generally just take whatever they're given, which is very weird, but that's it's just how people tend to be, I think. So yeah, you're at a small enough size that you can talk about it. That's great. If everybody learns enough about tokens and the lack of value inherent to them, and the fact that if one person sells, like the slippage is insane. I don't think as long as no one takes the cash dollar value at face value, then we're good.
And so we're talking about just tokens that don't actually, like, you can't trade them or anything. Like you can't sorry, I've got a dog here that's like trying to get up on my lap. Just Fiona.
I was wondering what's going on there.
She's stressing out or something. And so, but even so, like this will be, so what do these represent? They represent your ability to like make decisions for the DAO. But the incentives are a bit different because since you can't cash them out, then it's also like we do as a DAO, I think, want to give more of these out. Like you almost want people to want these tokens to bring them in to, like, you know, make decisions or delegate to other people. You don't really want it to be like an exclusive, I don't know, exclusive holder like team or something. So it's not exactly like an asset that you're kind of distributing as payment, or it seems like more of two-sided, like the DAO is not just giving away value, it's like getting value in return by having you like hold these tokens. Like for example, Nick, like you might not really care or want any compensation, but like as a DAO, like we would benefit from you, like, you know, having governance power and then like exercising that because you're like knowledgeable in certain areas. So that's kind of like, it's not necessarily like us paying you, but it's like a two-sided relationship in that way.
Maybe it's like a badge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like a participation scheme.
Yeah. Hopefully like scheme is in like a framework. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we've come to associate scheme with only fraud because like that's such a post-capitalism society we're in. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Eric, is that actually you? Do we have connectivity here? I see him pop up. But maybe you could, John, I don't know if you have any thoughts on the governance. I need to take this dog out real quick, but I'll be right back.
Is he talking about, oh no, this is the actual. I thought he was talking about the voting earlier because I got the link for doing that token allocation. I don't know if you guys get that for the Republic DAO, and he's testing out that platform.
Yeah, that's another one I couldn't access it. I don't know if it's just me running into all these technical.
Yeah, I mean, I could access it, but there's a bug in that I need to report to him, so I'll file a grievance. But as far as this allocation looks fine. I mean, the way you handled it in Discord was good. You know, like Spencer was saying, it's not like we're, you know, bankless DAO and having 500 people all trying to agree on something. So.
Can anyone actually hear me?
There you go.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm driving with my family, so no, don't share all the horrible secrets I've shared with you guys about them.
Brave man, we're on speaker.
You're on speaker.
Hi, Mac family.
We won't tell them you said that they're all much better looking than you.
We know that.
Not news. Well, Eric, do you have any thoughts on the governance token and the percentage and having a call to discuss or any of that?
Sounds good to me. I mean, everything I've seen looks good, and but yeah, if we want to discuss more in depth, like that also sounds good.
Okay, cool. So, and since the oh, bye, Crystal. Crystal has to drop off. So I think the next thing to do, if this sounds good, is to test this percentage with the app, and then I'll send out some more invites. I don't have like the emails of everyone listed there. But since we're not really doing this on chain, we can do this experiment several times until everyone feels good about it. But the idea is like, 6,000 tokens for like 6 months, or, however long it's been. And then, so these percentages would get, would be applied to like a 6,000 amount, and then you get your portion and then you claim it. But in order to claim it, you have to like delegate out to everyone else in the DAO in your absence. So if you never take any action or vote on anything, then at least your delegates can, and then your will is kind of expressed in the vote. So and then we have a few things in the forum that we can use to like test this out. That's kind of why I've been like posting in the forum a bit, is just like what decisions could the DAO be making. So I think, like, for example, should any of the like core team or like common contributors be gifted any of the founder NFTs that are going to be minted at 2 ETH, or should we like have everyone pay the 2 ETH no matter what? And that I can see arguments on both sides, and we should. So I think that's a good process to follow, where we discuss it on the forum, and then once it seems like it's I don't know what the threshold is, whether it has consensus or it's been discussed enough or everyone kind of thinks that it's ready, then you actually put it to a vote. And then there's a voting period. And if a quorum isn't reached, like nobody says anything about it, nobody votes, like even with delegates and everything, then it just nothing happens. But then if quorum is reached, then it'll go through, and we all just kind of have to like, it's up to us to enforce it at this point, but we'll slowly kind of move things on chain so that it is actually autonomous at some point. But if we were going to wait for that to happen, I think we can go through a lot of like product iteration on the app and the concept itself without having to like make it this heavy like on-chain thing. So any questions about that? Or
Yeah, I'm not sure if you mentioned delegation specifically how it would be handled, but does Republic allow delegation, or would we have to use some other?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, part of the app that we're building handles that. In fact, you have to delegate to other people in order to claim your tokens. So you have to, so that your tokens can't just like sit there and not do anything. So like in order to get them, you actually have to say, okay, if I never, think about this DAO again, this person has my vote. But you can break it up into like several people or even by topic. And so there's also a lot of stuff to discuss around like this idea of the topic, because like if I'm making a proposal I want everyone to vote on, and then I see that I have a more favorable like voting power in marketing rather than like business development, and like the text of the proposal is kind of like could fall into either one, and then I label it as like marketing so that that like benefits me and I carry more weight with the proposal, then that can be like a powerful thing. So we'll have, I don't know, if anyone gets any ideas about, how proposals could be assigned like an actual category of expertise that it falls under, that we want to like those types of people to vote on it, since it can be pretty subjective.
And would that just depend on token holders having some kind of external tokenized credentials that we would just use as a proxy for expertise? Or is there some way to like account for that within the voting platform?
Yeah, that's baked into the app. So if you want, you can just say, no matter what the proposal is, this person votes for me, like with all my tokens, or this person votes with half and this person votes with half. But if you want to, you can say, okay, well, if it has to do with like AV or podcasting, then John gets all my votes. But then if it has to do with like inter-DAO relations, then Spencer gets all my votes. And then, which is cool, but then
Okay, I see.
But then if I'm writing a proposal, if I'm the one who gets to decide, like, oh, is it about podcasts or is it about inter-DAO relations, then I might be tempted to go and see like which of my people have stronger votes in each of those categories. So I don't think it should necessarily be up to the proposer to put a label on it as far as like what the category is.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about there, because that opens up an avenue to game the governance system.
Mm-hmm. But also like the whole scheme is to use Nick's word, is to speed things up so that the whole DAO doesn't need to weigh in on things, and like these working groups develop where they have enough proxy delegation in certain areas of expertise that they can just kind of as a group autonomously make decisions, and then the rest of the DAO can like pull their proxy power if they kind of like go off the rails. But it just allows people to actually do things while still kind of following the will of the DAO. And so then if you put the category delineation up to like a DAO vote, then like you're basically just you're just going back to the first problem. So I think go ahead.
Well, yeah, I wonder if it would even end up really being a problem. I mean, maybe I'm being too optimistic, but if you're like submitting a proposal to be voted on, and you categorize it in a way that just obviously isn't accurate, then like the community is going to react one way or the other, and like it's going to like reflect on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it would.
Oh, I think we lost you for a second.
I guess I'm just wondering if there's any kind of natural recourse, like if you'll be ostracized for doing that kind of stuff, or maybe there's some kind of a way, like a forced rage quit thing, like a guild kick kind of maneuver the DAO could do to kick someone out that's like doing stuff like that. I mean, it just
Mm-hmm.
it may not even end up being an issue, depending on what kind of like natural consequences come from someone actually doing that.
It also depends a lot on the distribution. If you don't have enough people voting in the first place, or if you have too few people in the DAO for there to be a crazy number of people voting, you won't reach that threshold of needing those more sophisticated questions answered.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not gonna be an actually autonomous, distributed, decentralized thing, no matter what you do.
Maybe there's some way to, if there's some way token holders can get like some kind of, not a warning, but if they have a sense of what votes are coming up, what proposals are coming up, then maybe they can delegate their tokens on like a vote by vote basis, instead of needing categories, but I don't know, because that's like, you would still need like the average delegator to actually keep track of what the votes are about, to know who to delegate to. Maybe, because I gather the whole point of this is to kind of take some of the governance kind of workload off of the average token holder.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a great idea. Yeah, not proxy, not just by topic, but by actual. So I think the topic still needs to be there. The category still needs to be there for people who just never pay attention. But if you are paying attention and you just don't actually want to vote or whatever, but you know, you can just kind of like skim the headlines or whatever, and then like figure out who you'd like to vote for you. I think that's a pretty good idea too. Yeah, I'll put that down.
What happens if everybody decides that they want you to vote for them? I'm joking, but I'm not joking.
He's like the de facto emperor of JournoDAO.
Yeah. the benevolent dictator, but with like some accountability. It's like you can.
I mean, this is a lot of work. You guys have really put into this. Just like really figuring it all out. And this, I mean, there's a technical aspect. There's just thinking about it in terms of, logistically, like all the different scenarios. I feel like you definitely. I feel like there's like a DAO consulting in the very near future for.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping we can like tackle some of these hard problems and bake them into the platform so that other people can just like use it without worrying about all these like edge cases and stuff, because we've run into them by guinea pigging ourselves, but we'll see.
I might make a suggestion that since this is about governance, this can become like a 3-hour conversation. So I'll try to keep it really succinct. One way to maybe accomplish what you're looking for, if it's to create active participation, give people a stake in the votes, and also allow them to delegate. I've seen a really efficient model that involves game theory. So, and most of these do kind of marry game theory with capitalism, with governance, which is kind of really ethically dubious. But the idea is force everybody to vote, or they lose the right to participate for some period of time. Usually this is done with like money. You accrue money if you're actively participating, and that money has to go towards public good funding for something. The model I'm thinking of is actually relevant to the meeting you guys had last night. It's for the Kusama Council. Their game theory model is pretty solid as an idea. It's that you have a pool of people that are participating. They can vote people out. There's a fixed number of people that are allowed in that committee at that time, and there's a cycling period. So like, every week or two, someone gets knocked out, allowing someone else to circulate in. And the reason people are doing this and voting on these is that they're accumulating governance influence in the protocol, which they're called. I mean, they're in Kusama tokens. So in theory, you could try to give them to your friend and then steal them. But in reality, they're mostly just accruing valueless governance tokens that then have to be spent on grants for other people. So that's the idea.
It kind of makes sense, actually, like it, because I mean, the whole problem with DAOs in itself is like being able to dip in and out. Like I could be gone like a couple weeks or something, and then that doesn't really make it fair for other people, stuff like that. And then it alleviates some people from responsibilities they don't really want to carry. Although it just means you could constantly be rotating, which would be weird too. But
No,
well, that's kind of the typical structure in DAOs. Like there's a revolving door problem, but it exists because people, if they have a stake in something, it's not, you can't necessarily create an incentive model that's going to make them have a serious stake in it unless you're actually paying them. Because if it's not money-based incentives, it's ideological in nature.
Mhm.
So you've got them regardless of whether or not they're participating actively. But if you want them to, stake their professional time on it, a way to do that is for them to care about the influence that they're accumulating and feel like there's a social capital to participating. And that's the way I look at it as well. Like if I want to withdraw that money from JCR, I can, but there's more social capital to what I'm doing that allows me to just leave it there and wait. It's an insane thing to do, actually. And it's not something you should do, but it's a very common refrain that you hear people talk about. And I think there's a reason for that.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. The only thing I would say to that is, I mean, forcing people to participate, or not forcing, but like, just herding them into this like behavior pattern is one thing, but that doesn't like appeal to me personally. And so what I've kind of like skewed towards is like, okay, if nobody's going to actually participate, then how do you still kind of capture their will of what happens? And so that's kind of the idea behind forced delegation. Like I do want to accommodate the person who just like works for a week and does awesome stuff, and then we give them some governance tokens and then they just bail or whatever, and then they like delegate to this person and then their delegate bails and then that one delegates to whatever, and then people just kind of start handing off this power or whatever, and it's always sitting there waiting for people to come back in and suddenly care about it again. But as it's sat there, then like more tokens keep being released, and so like your old voting power is just going to dilute over time. But I do think there's room there for like more to add what you're talking about, of like, I almost thought of like conscripted service or something like that. I think people who, I know I just said that I'm against like forcing people to do things, but like having some sort of like civic responsibility like component to it, I think is something that we've lost. It has a lot of value like for communities. So
Yeah, it's almost like an exercise. And I think if you want a vocabulary for that, maybe refresh rate might be a good one.
okay.
Some way to like measure active versus passive participation. So if you want to delegate, that's fine. If the vote is critical, maybe in those circumstances you can only take, if there were 50 people in the DAO and 9 of them vote because it's a critical emergency, but it's, otherwise the delegated vote would just be an automatic pass through. Most of these will be automatic passes.
Mm-hmm.
You won't get a lot of fails in that delegated scenario where you've got 3 people with like 75% stake. And even if that dilutes over time, it would take a lot more active participants to get like a meaningful faction that would oppose that, or you just get the coalition problem where people are delegating against each other, or someone delegates it all to something really silly that co-ops the whole thing and you want them to stop hijacking your protocol. Those are all common problems you can look at. But the main idea, the biggest problem is participation. So delegating solves that. But if you want to solve the idea of people having a stake in the protocol and trying to feel an active civic responsibility to want to make changes through it and use it as a tool to do that, kind of as an exercise. I think a way to do that is have them accrue value, like you're suggesting, over a track record of participating. So like the more they participate, maybe they accumulate more influence over time. And time is a really good way to secure something like that, probably the best.
Yeah, I was just going to suggest like a kind of like an inverse way of saying that same thing, of maybe there's some kind of like a standard voting multiplier, like a 1, but then if they miss 3 votes, then it drops down to like a 0.95 multiplier. And if they miss like 10, maybe it drops down a little bit more. Then as soon as they start picking up the pace of involvement, then it can go back up to 1. Then maybe a delegated vote has the same weight or a different weight than a direct vote. It's just all these things to consider.
We need a whiteboard and like 4 nerds, and everyone else can just go about their business.
Oh,
But yeah,
well, I
I
think we
think you got
have
it.
more than four nerds among us. Yeah.
JournoDAO's first hire needs to be a quant, so we can figure it out. No,
I
I
have
like
to
that.
close this out soon.
Okay,
though.
yeah, let's like Nick said, we could go on forever, so maybe we can wrap it up. How much more time do we have on the call, Jennifer?
Well, I can let it run and I can go run and do what I need to. So go for it.
No, that's okay. I think unless anyone else has, that was kind of
No,
the
I mean definitely have time to like another 10 minutes to wrap it, properly.
Okay. Well, any other agenda items from anybody else? Or, I mean, the only other thing I'd want to do is go over some of these like proposals, just to like chat about them, but those can happen async on the forum or at later calls.
I mean, if you want to get it done, like I'm totally fine to keep it running, and then I might have to just quickly jump for a second and then come back or whatever. Easy.
Okay. Well, Spencer and John, how much time do you have?
I gotta jump on a call with the legal guild at Bankless DAO. So
What'd you do?
yeah, I know I'm in trouble always.
All right.
So I guess I'll talk to you guys. I need to talk to you about another bug I found in that program, but I'll get to you later today on that.
Sweet. Okay. Thanks.
All
All right.
Later. Bye, y'all.
Yeah, I think considering that I've got kiddos in the house, I need to go chase around. We should probably just call it, barring any other orders of business. Eric, you still there? Mac family, if that's the correct name.
Here.
Anything else you want to put into the notes? That
Having trouble hearing you.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna have to go back and listen to the recording. I've just got
Okay.
bits and pieces.
okay? Anything that you want to enter into the record before we sign off?
I sent a message in the group DM, Twitter DM I got earlier about a media and Web3 conference in Argentina that was interested in some sort of JournoDAO presence, and I don't exactly know what that looks like, but trying to set up a call for looks like Friday, so we can pick that up in Discord.
Oh, cool. Was that Diana from the Blockchain Press Club?
No, has nothing to do with them. It's the Hacks and Hackers group, which I think has come up here before.
All right. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to looking into that.
That's about it for me.
All right, cool. Well, I'll say everyone else enjoy your day. Good talking to y'all.
Yeah, I'll download the video and I'll share it, and then you guys can download it.
All right, thanks.
Thanks,
Hey guys.
everyone.
Bye.